consummation of this goodly alliance twixt the noble Richard, Earl of Cornwall, and his most lovely bride, sweet Sancha of Ennui in Provence. This day sees the two conjoined in one of several ceremonies. This first is celebrated in all the pomp that Cornwall may muster, here in Dunaved, which stands on the very brink of England. Thence, in pursuit of this rustic effort, to Westminster, where all revelries will be made in full compliance with their regal privileges. He, who is wealthy beyond compare, save for the Tartars of the East, who I hear tell have prosperity of greater purse, he who comes to this great day beladen with the tragedy of his first wife's demise, Isabel, whose blood ran out in childbirth not 3 years since. He who still yet must grieve the loss of his own children's mother, and so seek another younger model to keep his many progeny, will upon this very day be made as one with winsome Sancha. She, a maid of merely 15 summers, she, a virgin recently betrothed, whose intended Raymond, unprepossessing bastard, fell from grace in battle. She, who now straight forth will be heir to many riches, small recompense mayhap for instant motherhood to 10, will upon this very day be made as one with Dunaved Dick. I spoke withal in seclusion at a prior time to the lady who has predisposed this much, none other than our regal Queen Eleanor, good sister to the lovely Sancha, and by consequence of marriage to our noble King Henry, sister also to his brother Richard.
How now, your Majesty? Mayst commend you on your doings. What's with this happy union you have hatched twixt sister and brother?
Sir, cull your impertinence. There is no consanguinity afoot. This marriage is a gift from me to Henry, my lord and liege. 'Twill save him from the rantings of his upstart brother Richard, who lately makes lunatic my lord, turning him from loving brother to witless stool.
Prithee, madam, art satisfied that your sister is in thrall with your device? Is your choice of husband also hers?
She has an image made of Richard held close against her blushing bosom, albeit from an old how now tablet, broadcast at the time of his accession to the earldom of Cornwall, when he was but a sinuous youth of 16 years.
But was that not some 18 years ago, before his marriage to the fertile Isabel, before his wearying crusades, before his fathering of several young, before...
Enough, blistering fool! Your time is at an end, and I am henceforth silent on the matter. Begone to buggery!
What is this? He has the look of a man in the dumps. This aligned with the cheery countenance of a soon-to-be brided groom. But then he has come to marriage fresh from the Crusades. Oh, mayhap not so very fresh. Good my lord, wouldst vouchsafe a small rejoinder with me?
Oh, wearying world, what beetle-headed, flap-eared midget must I hear from now? How now, my combless cock? Oh, I see you are a cockless comb. What words would you bandy with me?
Sire, I am but a humble listener who would undertake to relate the day's festivities to your serfs and commoners who wish to share the sentiments of your nuptial feast.
Ah, young sweetmeat, there is much to relate. This day will speak of much frippery withal, to conjure the young and juicy maid Sancha in holy sacrament, and thence to my bed.
And pray, good my lord, such a lavish scene must needs rely upon great moneys. Mayst inquire from where such bounty comes?
From my dear brother, our much venerated King Henry. He owes me much by way of my greater intelligence, and has allowed a great amount of his own currency, not to mention that of our Jewish community, in honour of this conjugation. Although it is true I command wealth beyond measure, it is he who builds the abbey at Westminster, under whose much-adorned magnificence we are to be betrothed in holy matrimony. Thence to celebrations unbridled and unrivalled on this earth, with golden-studded cups of mead from Champagne in France, and stuffed nightingales and a platter of pure mousselade, we will fulfil our dowry of overindulgence. That should satisfy even the most egregious bridal desire, though I fear 'twill barely suffice the demands of such an acquisitive young madam.
And whence thereafter, pray? Wouldst whisk your newly-wed bride away to pleasure her in her hometown of Ennui?
Nay, mad-brained Rudesby! Cornwall, Cornwall! Much have I embroidered upon my seat at Launceston. I've spent a pretty penny upon the enhancement of the castle thereat, and shall know my wife forthwith therein, and that not soon enough.
Such opulence of image do you afford me, sire. I needs must thank you 1,000-fold for this discourse.
And now I must be away to gain interview with those whose interest doth underwrite the means for this affair. I spy one such approaching with a heavy goat.
Ask me not for a loan, young wench, for I'm all out.
I ask only for a loan of your time, good sir, that and a small recollection of your part in this extravagance.
Indeed.
Can spare me such a thing?
Indeed, it may be all I have to learn. For my purse has been drained of its coin, just as my good heart has been drained of its good cheer.
Prithee, sir, do expand upon your thoughts at full volume. There are many who thirst for such information, and I would be the carrier to quench such a drought.
Well, my little wench, it would sit poorly with the throne were I to allude to the depth of pocket I've been forced to excavate. My poor dear wife, our Minchkins, and this sad goat, of course, have all borne silent witness to the reduction in my circumstance. Oh, sire, it would be pleasure beyond measure for me to render myself penurious for your gratification. May I fund your apparels? May I richly furnish your table with plate and gold? May I provide Turkish cushions embossed with pearls? A finely gilded valance from Venice, mayhap? 60 fat oxen, 70 fat lambs? Silken canopies draped over silver lances? Ivory coffers draped in damask and filled with crystal mice? 3,000 dishes for the wedding breakfast? Of course, a mere drop in the ocean of gold you seem to think I sail in. No, I can only apologise for failing to attend the ceremony, and I take no offence at your refusal to invite me. And what's more, I shall make every effort to restore my fortune such that I may be of service when you care to rob me blind once more. But say nothing of this aloud, my pretty, lest my gizzard should make fine gaiters.
'Twould be awful, sir. Your secret is vouchsafed with me.
Now there goes one who may be proud to speak with you, the Master Potter. He's a common clod by look, but hark you me, he has more coin to weigh down his breeches than any other in this marital market of mayhem.
There you be, sir.
I thrust myself on my knee to you, sir. You fetched me a mighty bag of pennies, sir, when you turned this here ready malarkey to face me with me hands in clay. What a job! 3,000 dishes, buggering fires, 3,000. I had to take on my whole family to sort that bugger out. I've never worked without their porcelain afore, nor gold leaf too. I've hand-painted that Biddy Royal Crest so often 'tis illuminated on my eyeballs. We've been at it this whole season past. Even lost 2 of my little ones in the plunger. Not the way though, ice up the duff. 'Tis some show though, innit? Was ever a match clapped to such excesses? My little Edward says he's seen an elephant, so I give him a clip. No such thing, I told him, and don't you be saying false, what's more. Things they get in their heads, eh? Cause this young un then. Tain't no good asking he for a loan.
I know. Good Master Potter, couldst tell me how came the need for so many dishes? A biblical challenge to cover with food and fancies, I deem. Not to speak of the formidable effort in conjuring up their form.
Here tell young'un 'tis all on account of that there proud beauty Cynthia, owning 16 summers and all, but commanding this and that like she governed all of Christendom. A puffed out young madden
enrobed with silken muffs, and lacy cuffs and golden bracelets, and amber beads, demanding every food that could be salt, pickled or smoked. But that would not suffice. She would, notwithstanding the heat of the season, have such fine foods fresh, canst taste the conceit, lest she might next to pumpkin be bolted down in all humidity, like straw upon the threshold, with all the family trampling over. Never mind the silken drawers and fur belows. Forgive a plain man's ramble, but 'tis a shame to see such a coaxed hen castrate her cock.
Sirrah, I crave an audience with this young lady, and wish to comprehend her principles, and broadcast the manifest of her heart's yearning.
Forsooth, 'tis a likelihood that my young nipskin, Beatrice, who is by way of means being chamber pot to the royal household, could give entrance to one such as yourself to our lady's chamber. I'll say that to you, my bird.
My joy is unconfined.
Oh, zut alors, how I am miserable. And on this holy day of my marriage. Such a very handsome jeune homme he was. Oh, poof.
Excusez-moi, mademoiselle. Please excuse my intrusion. I am but a servant of the people. Fain disturb your last few
You
hours.
are my first visitor to this horrible dungeon. I welcome you.
Can't it be true that you should be averse to these fine chambers lavished upon you by your noble suitor and soon-to-be husband, the Earl of Cornwall?
Let me illuminate you on the meaning of fine. In my home in Provence, my heartland, the soil of my people, the delice of my soul. You English, how can you know fine without knowing Provence? Here in Cornwall, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark. There in Provence, it's warm and golden. It's sometimes a little bit moist.
Mayst not be cheered by the prospect of becoming Countess of Cornwall?
And what honour must I then endure? I am nothing more than an ornamental turnip, a decorated dumpling in this casserole of cabbages. But my mother is a fox amongst these Cornish chickens. She demands and beguiles, but she will have her way. I am in her little pocket, but she knows what's best for me.
Forsooth, dear lady, wouldst have your mother make a plan of your very life? Have you no tongue in this matter? Or does this scheme content you?
Content? How am I to be content with an airy old soldier who smells of onions and dead fur? He has already signposted one wife to her grave, overserved with babies, and he has his fetid hands on my balloons already.
Balloons? Ah, doubloons. Prithee, do not weep. There needs must be an exit from this foulest fortune.
One small gesture do I withhold within my wizard sleeve.
Pray, confer with me. All will be made secret within my epistle to the magazine.
In my fair homeland, which Richard would make foreign to me, there lies the sluggish town of Ennui. My grandmother took me there for the sheer pleasure of doing nothing at all. She told me that in times long gone, Ennui bustled with many fete and festival, holy day, feasting, all was joy and jollity. But a curse was laid upon that town by a young disfavoured bride. Her father made her marry a pig. I saw with venomous imprecation, she marked the town with apathy for all eternity. My grandmother said to me that such a curse could only be laid by a virgin bride on the eve of her straddling. I will bestow the same on Launceston, Darnevid, Launceston, whatever this town that Richard loved so well. Will you help me find the cock? I need to slit his throat.
Good heavens, and all that dance therein? Canst be serious? What of your nuptial celebrations forthwith withal?
Think thou I should have mercy on those that call me Cynthia? But lest my vengeful imprecation should turn sourly in my face, I will mild it with a little cream of kindness. Nay, double cream with that. Our pity already those poor impoverished people, disabled by a torpor not of their making or handmaking. I will addend my curse, as thus. Following upon our union, should the fruit of our loins continue to rule over Launceston, all will be upheld as now, with artiness of life and limb and joy of feastings. But should the bloodline fail, and upstart lunatics make compost of my heritage, then such a fierce, unholy lethargy will descend upon this town, that all will be made gleeless. No music in the park, no joy of backslapping, not one whit of encouragement or exuberance or exhilaration. No one will be asked. Now fetch me a cock.
In God's name did it come to this?
Give your allegiance to the Queen of England and she'll spare your worthless life. That her power is sovereign. What do you say, man? What do you say?
There's power over my body, but not my soul. God's my true sovereign, as he is yours. You should repent of your wicked life before it's too late. God knows what your fate's going to be. Madness, death within a month.
You worry about your own future, papist. If you won't turn your back on the damn Pope, say to these good people of Launceston that the Queen is the head of the church in England, I'll gut you like a fucking fish.
I'll do no such thing. I don't care what happens to my body now, just my soul, and it'll be damned if I turn my back on what I believe now. God, please forgive this simple man, for he doesn't know what he's doing.
You pious bastard. I'll enjoy ripping you apart. Come on, who wants to see a hanging?
All I'm saying is, if they bring in tuition fees, I'll be the first to march on London. Does it matter who claims to be head of the church in England? God is the real leader. It's only his word we need to obey.
Of course it matters, you thundering fool. It's a political position as well as a spiritual one. People need a leader on earth, somebody to instruct them in how to behave, in how to interpret the Bible.
The Bible speaks clearly to educated men.
Don't be so proud of your schooling, Russ. We are as blind men, so little of the Bible do we comprehend. Think, we educated men need to make it clear to the peasants and knaves of the land. Before we can, we need spiritual guidance from somebody far more enlightened than us. Somebody who God speaks to as a father to a son. Then he to us as father to a son, and so it goes on.
Why does it matter then who that father figure is? That German Luther was right. The last number of popes have been greedy and corrupt. Why should it matter to us whether the head of the church is a greasy, corrupt Italian or our own tight-snatched queen? At least Bess keeps her pants on.
Ha, you speak like a fool again, Russell. Think to the Bible rather than mock it. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven.
You have me there, Sir Edmund. I'd be a Catholic just to be a free man, not one dictated to by that mad, miserable, man-hating virgin who somehow managed to find herself upon the throne. But what of the infallibility man? We've all heard the rumours of what goes on in Rome. How does this sit with infallibility, papal infallibility?
God has decreed the papacy infallible. I don't presume to question his teaching.
But what of...
For my part, I consider it perhaps like this. Things are sent to try us, to test our faith. Perhaps it's not the devil that has tempted these cardinals, but God, setting a test to see who will keep their faith in him and who will fall by the wayside like careless sinners. In these difficult times, it might be a test of faith in the power that he's given to Rome.
What do you think of all this, Cuthbert? I must be honest to say, most of this goes way over my head.
I never really gave it much thought before.
But you're rector of Huntshaw.
Yes, but I didn't take holy orders because of any great religious fervour. My uncle's also rector, and he insisted on me following in his footsteps, for want of any trade or skill I could muster. I was only 18 when I was ordained. What man knows his own mind at such an age? Well, I was still only a child. But now I find my waking hours consumed with trying to know my Saviour. I read the Bible every day for hours, to the detriment of my other studies. It speaks to me. It speaks to me of everything this world has endured since creation. I haven't felt that way before, not until Edmund helped me with my studies. Until he explained chapters I'd found fathomless. Now it speaks to me, and the Protestant's folly becomes more apparent each time I open it.
Then explain to me, because I can't understand it. I try to, I really do. As the most important decision I will ever make. Christ! Oh, sorry, Lord. My bloody soul is at stake here. It was so much easier before that bastard Henry. I want to be sure I make the right choice, but what is the right choice?
That is simple. Which creed exalts the Virgin Mary, the very Mother of God, to an appropriate position? Which creed does not deny the Gospel's teaching on the transubstantiation of Christ through the sacrament of Eucharist? In his own words, eat my flesh, drink my wine. Yet Canterbury would have us believe he meant this only in metaphor. Damn heretics, how do they know better? Luther took it upon himself to set fires blazing all over Europe. I'll be no part of this heathenry.
Nor me. Luther challenged the rock upon which the church is built. A damn German monk, challenging the very fundamentals of the Christian faith. Isn't that right, Edmund?
Very much so, Cuthbert.
I'm off to the bar for a drink. I need something to clear my mind from contemplating the sin of fornication.
You know, there are many people here at Oxford that have marked you down as a good-natured but shallow sort of man. I can see the hidden depths they cannot. Keep up the act, boy. Keep the spies off your tail.
Is it really that dangerous?
I can see you're a deep thinker and zealot. Your faith is stronger than any I know, save for myself. But there is one end for us, my friend, and that end is martyrdom. One day we will be saints, Cuthbert, but before that time we have torture and death to face. I fear I see it as clearly as a gypsy hag in her crystal ball. Our fate before us, torture and death.
Ave Maria, Gracia plain.
Oh, thank God you're back safely, man.
What are you doing here, man? You scared me half to death.
Your servant permitted me entry. Did you not see the fight outside the tavern? Everybody's talking about it. Dr. Stapleton, the botanist, was set upon by a Protestant mob, beaten almost to death. I feared they might have come across you.
How would they know my popish inclinations? No one knows that apart
Don't
from
be so obtuse, Cuthbert. I'm supposed to be the stupid one amongst us. The very Bishop of London knows about you. Sir John Plessington told me when I arrived back home earlier.
Bishop of London, what does that mean, spirited bastard?
He's gotten hold of a letter, a copy of a letter Campion sent you when you were holidaying in Launceston. It was intercepted by his spies. Damn spies, the fellow's been snooping on us.
Listen, Edmund sent a lot of letters. Is it incriminating?
I'd say so. Plessington has as many spies as they do. The letter was about the Catholic University at Douai in France, advising you to finish your studies there. The bishop knows about you and is sending men to arrest you.
Christ.
They're here, friend. Leave, now. Outside, quickly. Go round the back. They don't know me. I'll put on the drunkard's act and stagger into them. Try and delay them. Go, go.
When will we next meet to talk about the Bible, Mr. Cuthbert, sir?
Sarah, if the High Sheriff of Cornwall found out about our meetings, you'll be in great trouble. I don't think you appreciate the danger you're in, asking to meet with me alone like this.
I'm not scared of the High Sheriff of Cornwall. Anyways, how will he find out? Sitting in his finery, pretending that castle's his. He's too busy playing with another man's inheritance than to go looking for Catholics like us.
You'd be so sure. He spies everywhere. There's a bounty on us Catholics' head. That's reason enough to hunt us down. No one is safe in Cornwall. Even the gentry keep their guard up.
Well, I'm not afraid of him. He'll find no proof of wrongdoing in me. Worse luck.
You think proof will be required? He's a liar. He's a lying, cheating devil. He'd blaspheme the very name of Jesus to get his way. He'd twist the innocence of our meetings and insinuate that we got up to obscene acts.
I'm sure I would if you gave me half the chance.
Oh, Sarah, don't mess around like that. I wouldn't have your name blackened as a whore, not for all the saints in heaven.
Why don't you march on Launceston, claim your rightful inheritance, kick that usurper Grenville out of that castle of yours he's squatting in?
And how am I going to do that, Sarah? I had to flee the country to escape from the Bishop of London. And those documents I told you about that prove my bloodline to a rancher of Provence, found those at the Catholic University of Douai. How am I going to explain my presence there?
Just doesn't seem fair at all. You having royal blood and not being entitled to what's rightfully yours. Of course, you'll be needing a wife, someone to bear you some sons to keep the line going.
James, Susanna's gone to Launceston to get some groceries. She told me to give you this pasty she read this morning.
Oh, well, if she's going into town now, she won't be home in time to put something on the table for my supper.
No, Mr. Oliver took her in his horse and cart.
Oh.
Thank you for taking me to Launceston. I don't know what I would have done without these supplies. It's hard enough at the moment with James only earning a few shillings a week and all the family to feed.
Oh, sister, there you are. What did you get? Oh. Afternoon, Mr. Oliver.
Afternoon, young Anne.
I'm going to have to go and see to the baby.
You are the most lovely creature.
No, I can't. I've told you. I've got a husband and a child.
Your husband cannot provide for you or your family. I can.
No, I can't do this. He's a good man. I'm not going to betray his trust.
Well, I have very strong feelings for you, and they will find a way.
Suzanne, are you all right? Is there going to be trouble?
Oh, you're very late. Where have you been? Oh, James, that is a lot of money. Where did it come from?
Well, 'tis a strange thing. Thomas Oliver came to see me and offered me some work up at the big farm and said to go and visit him before I came home. So I did, and he wasn't there. So I went down to the parlour and waited a few minutes. And then I went down to the stables and there he was, petting one of them there shires. But as I came in, he said something very strange.
What did he say?
Something about taming the beast. I know his horses, they work the field steadily. I'm not sure what he was referring to. Oh. He gave me this and said that I would find out what he wanted from me in good time.
You take that back. You go up there right now and you take that back to him. Oh, God. Oh, no, we didn't. God, forgive me. I didn't know what you've done.
Why so upset, Susie? Thomas Oliver is a fine man and he's always looked after us. And I know he's got harvest coming up soon and he'll need good men.
James Roos of South Petherwin, you have been tried and found guilty of the breaking into Tremall farmhouse and stealing 10 shillings and a watch belonging to one Thomas Oliver. This is an heinous crime, and our community needs to be made safe from criminals who do not respect good, upstanding people in this country. Therefore, the punishment for this crime is that you be taken from here to a place of execution and be hung by the neck until dead. Take him away.
This is wrong. James is a good man, he wouldn't steal. He's going to be hanged. And what's going to happen to us?
That'll be all right. Charles and I'll go and find work. We'll bring in some money. James is not a bad man. This is all this Thomas Oliver's doing. I know what he was after.
I know. Seems like there's our lot in life, beholden to them that wants us. Oh, poor James. I'll have to go and see Thomas. I'll plead with him to change the situation. I'll go in the morning. We're going to need some sleep if we're going to survive this purgatory.
Suzanne, listen to this. An article in the parish magazine. Cornish convict down under, convicted of stealing 10 shillings and a watch. He was sentenced in 1782 to death by hanging, the normal penalty for such a crime. It says here, for some unknown reason, the sentence was commuted, and he was convicted aboard the prison help, Dunkirk, moored in Tamar at Plymouth.
On the 13th of May, 1787, the first fleet set sail from the Spithead, blah, blah, blah. On the 20th of January, 1788, Botany Bay was reached, so he sent a boat crew ashore under an officer to scout out the proposed landing site. Included in the landing party was the convict James Roos. The officer in charge, not wishing to get his feet wet, ordered Roos over the side to carry him ashore piggyback. So, James Roos was the very first convict to set foot in this proposed new colony.
That's our James. My brother, your husband.
On receiving a favourable report, the commander decided that the settlement be set up in that particular area. As James Roos was a countryman and had some knowledge of farming, he was set to work to cultivate the land and to try to grow crops. Unfortunately, the soil was not for the best for grain crops, and Governor Phillip moved the settlement further along the coast to safe anchorage at Port Jackson. A little way upriver at Rose Hill the crops grew, and in 1790 the first crop was harvested, yielding 1.19 tonnes per hectare. That year he married fellow convict Elizabeth Perry and raised a considerable family.
So Suzanne, he did fine. He did all right despite what Mr. Oliver did to him.